Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and this is my review of Bridget Jones's Baby. Renee Zellweger is back making films with her new face. But is that new face going to help make her a name in Hollywood again? Or is this kind of a last-ditch effort at having a Hollywood career that doesn't work out? Well, as most people seem to be, I was a very big fan of Bridget Jones's Diary. I was not so much a fan of the second Bridget Jones film. So, especially after all of these years, I wasn't sure if I was excited or very, very scared for Bridget Jones's Baby. And after seeing the film, it just kind of felt like a sequel that never really needed to happen. Yep, it was right in line with other sequels like Zoolander 2 and Dumb and Dumber, in which we're given a sequel to a beloved film or franchise from 10 plus years ago, and the results are just meh at best. So what works with Bridget Jones's Baby? Well, there are laughs here. I think there were several funny bits. One in particular is a physical comedy gag that happens almost right at the end that was really hilarious. It just was the biggest laugh of the entire movie, and you'll know it when you see it. It's pretty hard not to laugh at this physical comedy bit. Also throughout, it's peppered with, good little moments here, good little moments there. It really pushes that R rating pretty hard, but it has its giggles. And I think if you liked the second movie, you're gonna like Bridget Jones's Baby as well. I will say that the person I went with enjoyed it a little bit more than I did, and the audience that was in the screening with us seemed to really laugh at the movie and found it pretty funny overall. So maybe I'm just not the target demographic, and that's why I didn't find it all that funny, but it had its moments. I also think Colin Firth was still wonderful as Mr. Darcy. I think he really is great in the role. He's great in pretty much everything, and he was good here again. It was nice to see him reprise his role, picked up right where he left off. I also think Renee Zellweger did a good job. She is Bridget Jones. She's bringing Bridget Jones back to the big screen. I think she really has an affinity for the character. I will say I think maybe she should have not gotten so much done to her face because she struggled to move that face throughout the entire film. But with that said, she did fine. Also, Emma Thompson was here, and she's wonderful, as she always is. No matter what movie you plop Emma Thompson into, she's going to be pretty good. And she was pretty good here. I actually wish we spent more time with her character, to be honest. But really, those are the only big positives I have to say about Bridget Jones's Baby. So this movie gets rid of Hugh Grant. He's not here, and we don't really get to see that whole saga, threesome, triangle situation play out any further. Instead, we're given Patrick Dempsey, and he is not an adequate substitution, I'm afraid to say. First of all, his character was just written extremely annoying. He was like this horrible caricature of a white knight coming in, just like this perfect guy, but at the same time being a terrible person and a villain. And he almost is unredeemable, and in the end, you're kind of just like, oh my gosh, he's an unsufferable character. And I think Patrick Dempsey doesn't do him any favors and doesn't really give him any humanity. He doesn't make us as an audience like this character through all his flaws. No, he portrays him just like he's written, and we all are just like, oh God, get him off the screen, please. But what was really the most frustrating part about Bridget Jones's Baby is that there was so much here, so much groundwork was laid to have a really progressive, really envelope-pushing film. And yet, instead of following those through, it reverts back to old tropes and the safe avenues. And that was just such a disappointment. Bridget Jones's Baby feels like it wants to be a really feminist movie. But instead, Bridget Jones is just such a hot mess that she can't really do anything on her own. Continually needs saving. Is just like, a stereotypical hot mess woman floundering around looking for a man type caricature. And it's disappointing to see because, again, you can tell that the movie thinks that it's being feminist and that it's really pro-woman. And in the end, it's not really pro-woman at all. It's really anti-feminism, and that's a disappointment to see. It also could have had so much to say about, non-traditional relationships, or even a polyamorous situation, a situation about raising a child that's not your own, or, having two fathers in the situation with Bridget Jones. I'm not going to spoil the ending, but instead it completely cops out of all of those situations. And it doesn't even really make sense. The ending just doesn't make sense. And it's ultra safe in the same hand. So it just was a huge disappointment in the end. And finally, it's just filled with a bunch of cliches. It just feels like an unnecessary trip back to the Bridget Jones storyline. You kind of are just left wondering, how do any of these people have jobs? Or what do they do with their time? I don't know. There's just a lot of unnecessary filler to make up this movie. So ultimately, I didn't really enjoy myself. I think if you are a fan of the first Bridget Jones and are curious, give this a rental. If you liked the second Bridget Jones, maybe this is good for a good girls' night out. But really, I think you can just catch this one when it comes on TV for free. I don't really think you need to pay to seek out and watch this film. Sorry. So, that has been my review of Bridget Jones's Baby. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click like down below and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on our latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. Are you excited to see Bridget Jones's Baby? And what did you think of the first two films in this trilogy? Let me know either in the comment section down below or hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!